hit like, and subscribe. You're watching the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel.
Good morning, family. How are you? To our ascending family? Ekaro. It is Saturday. Is it the first? No, it's the second Saturday of November. You're watching the Marc Lamont Hill official YouTube channel. You might be on his Twitter channel as well, but wherever you are, you're watching Ascending. I am your happy host, April R. Silver. I am your happy native New Yorker who was about to have, amongst how many millions of us are in New York City, we're about to have the best mayor. So congratulations to all of the New Yorkers who get to have as our Mayor-elect Mandani. What a victorious victory. I mean, but a victorious jolt to the system. I am so excited to be a New Yorker. So I wanted to definitely start off by saying that. And to remind you, you're watching Ascending. If it's Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern, then this is where you should be. I can tell you that we have an amazing show. Before we announce who the person is going to be, our featured guest, the phenomenon that she is, tell us from where you are ascending. You know how we do every week. We want to see what part of the world, what part of the globe are you watching this amazing show, this episode, this conversation of Ascending. Again, we're here every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern. And I want to tell you that today, well, this is the 8th day of Hip Hop History Month. So November is Hip Hop History Month. And for today, we're going to have someone who is a pioneering artist. She's globally respected, phenomenally gifted. She is rooted in everything African. The hip hop artist, the poet, the writer, the thought leader, Toni Blackman. And we're going to be talking about, from her own perspective, what it means to honor the essence of hip hop. We're going to be talking about her book, her origin story, and all those good things. And I can tell you, excuse me, you are in for a treat today. Before we get into that, let's shout out the Marc Lamont Hill official team members, all of you who make this independent media movement is what it is. Make it be what it be. I want to shout out my team, my A team, Drake, Aaron, Kevin, and Sandy. And with that, let's just jump right into Bookmark. So you know what, fam? Don't laugh at me, right? Don't laugh. I think we did this before. I know we did either this book of Toni Blackman called Wisdom of the Cipher as a bookmark. Y'all know we do this every week, or we did in a course. I didn't get a chance to check which episode, which episode we did what. It doesn't matter if we do bookmark twice, right? But today we definitely want you to pay attention to, get your hands on, do yourself a favor, get yourself a copy of Wisdom of the Cipher by Toni Blackman. And you know how we do. We want you to get that book from a Black bookstore. We want you to get it from Uncle Bobby's. You can get Wisdom of the Cipher online if it's not in the store where Uncle Bobby's is in Philadelphia. Shout out to Marc and everybody at Uncle Bobby's. We shout them out every week because we are the ones that will support always Black institutions, including Black bookstores. If you can get it from an independent store or a progressive store, more specifically, that's dope. But if you can get it from Uncle Bobby's or any other Black owned bookstore, please do that. And so, speaking of supporting institutions, I want to do my weekly reminder, which is new. There's a way that you can support independent Black media, the independent Black media movement that Marc has been shaping for quite some time. Please join his Patreon. The website is right there. And if you're listening and not watching, the website is www.patreon.com/Marc Lamont Hill Official. That is how you support this show and Night School and everything that Marc is doing for his independent Black media movement. That's really, really important. Excuse me. Speaking of Black media spaces, and speaking of history as, November as Hip Hop History Month, the Black media shout out for the week is theculturalinitiative.com. Theculturalinitiative.com. I didn't say this to my producers, but I think in February, we probably need to do some extra episodes about this particular student movement from the early 1990s. The culturalinitiative.com is an archival website. And because we're celebrating Hip Hop History Month this November and every November, I really wanted you all to get an understanding and learn about this student organization, the producers and the presenters, and the brainchild behind the first ever hip hop conference on the college campus, which was 1991. The Cultural Initiative was birthed out after the first hip hop conference happened, but it was all the work, the vision, the sacrifice, the blood, sweat, and tears of a handful of students at Howard University in the early 90s. The very first hip hop conference was at Howard University. Myself, every single one of the producers on this show, Toni Blackman, who's coming up in a minute, we all got stories to tell about that groundbreaking seismic shift that happened. You're looking at a picture of Tupac um, at Howard University back in the day. May he rest in peace. We had everybody. I'm not going to go down the rabbit hole because I could really talk forever. But Kevin, remind me, come February, our anniversary month, we got to do a whole whatever about the Cultural Initiative. The picture that you saw was a graphic from our 30th anniversary of the Culture Initiative, which is when we created the website, thecultureinitiative.com. So if you're watching the screen and you see the graphic, because that was our 30th anniversary graphic and the campaign that we had. So definitely go to theculturalinitiative.com. It is an archival website. You'll learn about what we did. There are videos there, there's stories, and I just want Ascending family to know about it. I had the honor of being the founding president of that organization. And as a matter of fact, we're going to have Tim Jones join us because he was the second president after me. But there's not a show that we do that doesn't have the impact and the imprint of those students. So shout out to Black Neoforce as well. So on that note, let's go to in memoriam. Kevin, can you take me off for a minute, and as we pull up the graphic, let's jump to the graphic and take me off screen for a second. What I want to do, family, is make sure that we don't just follow, what's in the news only. So we did this last week where we said an in memoriam to those who lost their lives throughout the entire Caribbean in the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa, which was just last month. We know that people are still dealing with that. And last week we also said there's a way that you can help. So if your question is, how can I support the Hurricane Melissa relief movement? The answer is one way that we vouch for that you can support that relief work is by going to the website of an organization called Community to Community. The website is on the screen. If you are listening and not watching, the website again is Community to Community. I'm sorry, that's the organization. The website is www.C2C And when we say two, we're saying the number two. C2Chaiti.org. There's an emergency appeal to help build Pete Grove. I hope I didn't mispronounce the name of that town. But you might remember Marie Yolene Toms, who was a guest back in the spring, episode 24. She was here and she gave us a whole deep understanding about philanthropy and her home nation and the work that organization is doing, and people stank when they are supporting these relief movements. Some people, the stake that they put on it, the condescending attitude, and that whole conversation was about her revealing, for some people know it already, but just revealing um, what is what we should be mindful of, when we do our giving, and what we should be aware of. So we want to lift up that organization's work, vet your organizations, the relief organizations. So that's our in memoriam. We send our condolences, and our hearts go out to everybody who's suffering, and especially those who have lost loved ones in the aftermath of Hurricane Melissa. On that note, we're going to shift gears, family. We are going to jump right into our special guest today, which is who is Toni Blackman. And let's welcome her. Yes, there you are.
Hey, hey, hey. How's it?
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'm good.
You look amazing. You
Thank
look
you. Thank
wonderful.
you.
I really do turn into a little girl when guests come onto the screen. And especially someone like you. Tony, tried to tell myself I wasn't going to bore the audience, our ascending
Uh-huh.
family, with how far we
Yes.
go back.
Yes.
Just keep it like we could really, really. That's a whole episode unto itself. But it has been my
Yes.
honor and my pleasure to know you for all of these decades. I'm so happy that you're here to talk about um, your relationship to hip hop
Yeah.
and hip hop's relationship to the world. But first, where you be, Tony? Where you at?
I am in one of my homes, Dakar, Senegal. And at the moment, I'm literally on Goree Island.
Wow,
Yeah, so I'm here. There's a discussion, a panel of sorts, where Fanta Traore, a Howardite, just a bit younger than us, but
okay,
she's a mover and a shaker. She is doing really great work around connecting the diaspora and putting Africa first.
nice,
And so there's a whole bunch of folks, philanthropists, investors, and social impact folks that'll be here. And I'm closing this session with a poem. And
nice.
there's a baby Howardite, one of my mentees, my bison niece, Kennedy Rance, who's in the School of B right now. She'll be delivering Fanta's open remarks because Fanta is bedridden today.
Okay, okay. So tell before we get into all the things that we could possibly talk about. You said
Right.
you are in Dakar, Senegal. One
Yes.
of your homes.
Yes. Yes.
How did that come about? Like you're by continental.
Well,
I
you know,
gotta listen to that, but
I've always dreamed of being bicontinental. Matter of fact, my dream was tricontinental. Then COVID hit, kind of wrecked some things up. I said, well, let me just streamline it so I can get to step one. And I've been traveling since the late 90s. Like I had a couple London trips early 90s, but I really started traveling in 98. And it was nonstop. And I at one point recognized that being outside of the US brought me peace and joy. But then I realized that being on the continent brought me not only peace and joy, but it grounded me and healed me in a way. So partially the sun, and also I move around Africa like an African. I don't separate myself, and so people tend to match energy. And you have a bit of that division piece that happens every once in a blue moon, but it's so minute. And I am so convicted. It never bothers me personally.
okay.
So yeah, I'm at home.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And Tony, that's who we know you to be. Those who know your
Yeah.
work as a hip hop artist, as a
Yes.
freestyle phenom,
Yes.
as a writer, as a poet. And there you are in 2005, being at I dare say your original home, right? Uh,
Yeah.
doing poetry. So, but
Yeah.
let's rewind a little bit for those who don't know. We recognize and love you and lift you up as the first hip hop ambassador
Mhm.
connected through the Department of State, the United
Yes.
States Department of State. And I remember when that happened, I was like, "Yo, that's dope."
Yeah.
You know what I mean, to
Yes.
be that. So tell us what that work was. Tell us what that work is. You as an ambassador,
What
and why it's important.
Well, initially I was featured in the BET magazine '98, and I can't remember the sister's name off the top of my head because I know you know her. But she wrote a top 10 African Americans you need to know,
Ah,
and I was in the list in the BET magazine, and in the list in the my description she wrote hip hop's own ambassador. So that was '98.
okay.
Fast forward to July 2000, I moved to New York. 2 months after I moved to Brooklyn, which was another dream live, is a woman called me from the State Department. And it was an older sister, EJ Montgomery. And she says, I ain't never liked rap. But then I heard your rap and the rappers you work with. I said, well, maybe. By gosh, I need to give it a chance. And so then she was talking about Freestyle Union Cipher Workshop because it was filled with so many dope MCs who could spit about any and everything. And there was a man who I worked with through Freestyle Union. We did a teaching artist program with 11-year-old Black and Latino boys using freestyle and rap as a way to encourage behavior modification with safe sex and HIV prevention. He loved
That's
it.
a lot. That's wonderful.
And it was a lot because 11-year-old boys, they tough. And 5 minutes later, they're crying with their arms around your waist. It's like the emotional hormone thing. It was bizarre for me because I was like, wait, I thought you was from the hood. And the next year they're hugging me like, mommy, please. So that was different for me having that experience because the work brings stuff up. It brings stuff up, creativity. But the director, John Palmer Claridge, gave them my press kit when they were going through the Source magazine. And he says, no, you're not going to find what you're looking for in that magazine. He says, this young woman I worked with, she went to Howard, she got a master's from Howard, and she does this, this, and that. And that is how I started to do the work.
Right. But no, and that's amazing. I knew your work with young people. I didn't know it was specific around behavioral.
But April, here's the work. The work is rooted in hip hop. But because of who I am, there's always a social justice lens. There's always a social impact lens. So someone challenged me around activism and what I was doing or whatever. I'm like, dude, I don't even use the word because I live it and breathe it. That's like me going around telling everybody I'm Black. Look at me, I'm Black, right? This is just service. And guess what? If you're a true hip hop head, we don't use the words. We didn't till it became branded. Like I was in charge of Zulu Queens in Washington, D.C. and worked with the Zulu Nation. When we went to clean the block or help out the elderly, we didn't call it community service.
Right. You just did the work.
Because that's what hip hop heads do. You serve, you use your creativity, use your energy, use your power, you use your love of culture. Because if you love hip hop, you must love community and
Absolutely.
You serve. And so,
Absolutely.
so it's always been that. And one of the young MCs, we were doing a podcast interview in DC, and I was talking about the mindfulness and this, and we came out, he was giving me a ride to where I was staying in DC. He said, Shorty, you been doing this. I was 14 and we came in, you was talking about vibe. You had us reading books.
Right.
You was talking about these Mary Barakas and such and such, the last poets you was referencing, creativity. You had us reading The Artist's Way. They were in high school, girl, doing The Artist's Way. And creative visualization and understanding the power of their minds. So it's like, I won't even take claim for it. A lot of it was intuitive genius. And I just trusted what was coming out of me. And a lot of the work I did during those years, I can't take credit for all of it. I just did what I felt and executed on that. And that was that.
Right.
Yeah. That was it.
Kevin, bring me back because I want to talk about Toni. I want to rewind just a little bit. And I love that you said this is just intuitive, right? And it wasn't always labels. But let's rewind even back a little bit And don't laugh, but where were you when you fell in love with hip hop? Like, what's your?
Girl, I think I was in the sixth grade. I had vinyl records. Um, I fell in love, but I think I really, really fell in love on Proposition 13 in California had been cut. And when I went into junior high school, all
In
the arts programs, huh?
in Cali, right?
In
In Cali.
California,
Yep.
all the arts programs were cut. The school teams were cut. So there was no music, there was no band, there was no theater, there was no nothing. We just went to school. And then there was the school buses were cut from the hood. So if you were from the hood, you were ass out trying to get to school. And so you had to catch the city bus. So if your family worked, we were the latchkey generation. So we were given safety instructions or sent to grandma's house before the school. And that's what we did. So on school, it was a long ride because instead of going straight to school, we had to go all the way around town on the city bus. And it was boring. And that's where I started. We didn't even know we were freestyling. We just I remember Renee Lawson's had cousins in New York. She probably gonna crack up if she hears this. I'm talking to her in a decade. And she had hip hop cassettes, rap music cassettes. And so even before the vinyl got to us, there were little sprinkles of it. And we had our own version, which was, I can't remember the name of the group. If I said it, you remember. Egyptian Lover. Egyptian Lover.
Egyptian Lover, yeah.
Egyptian Lover. And so we had our own version, but the New York hip hop came to us, and girl, we was freestyle on the bus. We was joning on the bus driver. And remember that song, Pop Music? Pop music? We would remix stuff because that's what Black girls do. We would remix and go, pop belly, pop belly. Talk about. And so then we would each freestyle and rap about what's inside of his belly because it was very big, the bus driver. And then I got in trouble because we tagged the bus one day and we all got called to the office and they said, clean the bus. You'll be cleaning this bus for the next 2 weeks. And if you don't show up to clean, we'll be calling your parents. And I did not want them to call my grandfather. So my graffiti career was over.
Right.
but I kept rapping.
Thank God you kept rapping. Wow, I had not heard that story, so thank you.
Yeah.
What's the movie that was from? When I said, where were you when you fell in love with hip hop?
Yeah. Oh, Brown Sugar.
I was about to say, yo, Kev, break the wall. But yeah, you're right, Brown Sugar. Yeah. And which I loved. I was so happy. I remember calling Sonia Sanchez to be like, oh, I know what you mean, Mother Sonia, when you that thing that our elders do when they was like, you'll learn or you'll see, when they know that you're young and all of that, and they're waiting for the moment that you can look back in the way that they've been able to look back and your perspective becomes refined, you know. So that movie did that for me. But speaking of, perfect segue, what do you think about the current state of affairs before we get into your projects? Tell me what you think about the current state of affairs of hip hop.
Oh man, listen. Well, I've been going back and forth with folks about this new announcement that for the first time in decades, hip hop is not on the Billboard charts. It's not songs at the top of the chart. And there was some hip hop heads who I spoke with. We talked about the beauty of that. And then we remember when Calvin Butts and what's your sister's name, your auntie's name?
Dolores Tucker.
Dolores Tucker. We're doing all this stuff to downplay hip hop. That was a time when hip hop went really insular. And the underground was on fire. Yeah. Any open mic you went to was going to feel like a Tribe Called Quest concert, even if it was people you never saw before. You were going to get the energy, the vibes. The music was going to vacillate between chill and then bangers and chill, but there was this musicality to it. And the lyricism, it didn't matter if it was a hardcore rapper or a backpacker or a comedic, everybody had
Yes.
such authentic flavor
Yes.
that the
Absolutely.
violence didn't feel like violence. It felt more like a Scorsese film because these were artists. These were
Right.
artists who were treating it like a craft. Even the hood dude from what is an area they call 21st in Vietnam in DC. It was 21st in V. And even this cat who didn't never set foot in a university, right?
Right.
Who
Right.
probably dropped out of high school and got his GED. But
Right.
guess what? He could still spit about anything in
Right.
his own style without biting someone else. So, all of that to say, I'm excited for hip hop right now. I'm excited for music. I'm excited for music in general and Black music especially. The people are in pain, people are suffering. And who eases the suffering all the time throughout history? The artist. It's
Yes.
the artists who bring relief. It's the artists who bring inspiration. And Toni Morrison, now's the time when the artists get to work and the artists are working. So now the challenge will be that we have to identify how to use these new tools because the record deal is not going to happen in a way it has in the past. And then a lot of people are leaving platforms like Spotify. So what's the next step? You know, are we going back to CD? Are we what are we doing in terms of distribution of music? But I'm excited to see what artists create during this phase. I can't wait. And my heart breaks for all of the young rappers that have died in the past 10 years. There's been a lot of needless deaths. Also, the fact that we let hip hop get so far off path as we did, there are a lot, the drug use, where just like people say, our generation sold the drugs on record. This generation took the drugs. And so, how to speak to that when also you have young people who are dealing with alarming rates of depression, anxiety, and the inability to regulate their nervous system, justifiably so, living in chaos. And so, there's a lot of social ills that we're navigating. But this is where the cipher work comes in. This is why I'm so passionate about the cipher. This is why I've returned to focusing on the cipher as a core element, as a tool, as a vehicle for us to remain connected, for us to become clear, and for us to elevate beyond where we are, because it happens most easily in the circle, those 360 degrees where we are giving, exchanging information, energy, and ideas, where we are creating creations so fly that we don't even know where it's coming from. Like once you get caught up in the vibe and the energy, oh, it's
Wow.
on.
It's on. Kevin, you can bring me back. I wanted to Tony, what I love about your work and that which is intuitive to you, right, is the way that you are embedded in hip hop on so many different levels, right? There's the energy, there's the vibe, there's the spiritual aspect,
Yeah.
there's the service that is embedded. There's so much so that you don't even talk about it when you talk about hip hop in its purity. So I think it's a perfect segue to your book, The
Yeah.
Wisdom of the Cipher, and you talked about the cipher being a prayer. And that
Yes.
connected with me so profoundly because you put vocabulary to some of the things that some of us know intuitively. So talk to us about the mission of the book and what you want people to walk away with.
Yeah, that particular, the wisdom of the cipher, I wrote it to document the universal spiritual principles that I've gleaned from these decades of organizing hip hop platforms and opportunities for hip hop artists. And so much of it has been rooted in growth, personal growth and development, because I'm a September 4th Virgo, and I've been passionate about my healing journey, my healing process, and in healing my own trauma in healing the pain of what it means to be born in the skin that I am in, I wanted to free and liberate others. And that's what had led me to writing this book. A lot of teachers and educators would ask me over and over again, they want to facilitate ciphers. And I realized I was going to have to figure out a way to start codifying this process, documenting this process, so that I didn't die with the music still in me. And it was Dr. Stephen Henderson, who was in the African American Studies department. He was 85 when we got there. So
I remember. I remember.
I
He was
didn't, I,
amazing.
I didn't get a lot of time with him, but I took 2 courses with him and would sometimes be the Black girl nerd sitting in his office asking him questions, taking notes. And between him and E. Ethelbert Miller
Yes.
and
Yes.
Dr. Nkongo, I mean, I just got this rich foundation. And Dr. Dawkins from Fine Arts, because I took jazz history and appreciation, and he used the book Blues People by Leroy Jones and Miri Baraka as the text.
Yes.
And all of that turned me out. It turned me out. And I studied Ornette Coleman and the free jazz movement. I would cut class to go to the Moreland Spingarn Center. I was that chick, right? Knowing I needed that math class, but did I really need it? But anyway, I got a C-. That was good enough. But in the work, that was those pieces. Like Ethelbert would give me these little booklets from the Black Arts Movement, the writers' workshops, and all this stuff. And then in the writers' workshop booklets from Hakeem's, like the actual booklets they use when Sonia used to do the writing group, when Hakeem Madabudi used to do the writing group. And I applied all of that to hip hop. And that's what got me open. And then I was a scholarship competitor on the speech team at Howard. And I had to train in impromptu speaking. And that training actually helped me get rid of my fear, so that I would, with all speaking fear was gone, because you master that, it's like a warrior. And so can I
pause you for just a second? I like that you use the word training. Yeah. I like that you were speaking to a discipline and a training. Yes. And it's not enough just to feel like you're an NC. It's not enough to be like, you know, your heart is full of fire and you put some words down or whatever, and that makes you an NC. Yes. Like it is a guild. It is a craft. Yes. And it requires discipline and training. But I think that people sometimes miss that part.
Oh, they miss it so much. They miss so much of it. And so in the beginning, I was young. First of all, I was from Cali. So then I still had that burden because regionalism was alive and well. Yeah. And then I was a girl. And I was also naive growing up in a Black community and a Black church community, and then Pan-Africanism. You know, what is sexism? I didn't know it was a real thing until it happened to me 20 times. And I was like, oh, so here I was doing all this hip hop work, naively, idealistically saying, we're going to elevate hip hop music and culture one MC at a time. We're going to change our community with hip hop. So I was all into that. And there came a point where I needed guidance from my elders, my mentors, but they didn't understand hip hop. And so I didn't get the instrumental support that would have allowed me to make a deeper impact, because it took them another decade to recognize the value of the work that we were doing. And so that was something that's slow, but most of them came around, baby. They came around. And
yes, you can bring me back. I wanted to ask Toni so that's about the discipline and the evolution, right? Because we know some of our teachers, like you said, came around. Yes. But there's still some people who don't respect the craft. There's still some people that don't respect the culture, right? Yeah. And certainly don't understand that it's global, beyond global, right? Beyond global, it's universal. Yeah. What is the thing that people most misunderstand about hip hop before we start to wind down? What is that?
I think that people Here's the thing. I said this to Kim Chan, one of my arts mentors,
Yes, yes.
had me
Love you.
everywhere in the 90s in the arts. So we were at this big Ford Foundation convening in Miami. And I know Barack Hussein and a few other arts leaders were there. And they were saying some stuff about hip hop. And I sat quietly and then until I got pissed off. And so then I went to the mic, and it was one of those big convenings where you got headphones for 20 different languages because it was global. And I wrote out what I needed to say because I wanted to be respectful. And I said, look, you do not go to MTV and ask them to define jazz for you. You do not go to Hot 97 or rock radio and ask them to define gospel, classical music for you. So I am offended and insulted that you are allowing someone you don't know in mainstream media to tell you what my music culture is when I'm right here and you could ask me. So the room got really quiet.
I know they did.
For 5 seconds, and then there was rousing applause. And then I was on every panel and in every room. People were asking me to talk about hip hop. I said, now don't treat me like they treat the one black person, you know, like this one person's supposed to know everything about hip hop.
You wanted them to open the gates so you could be in community, right? But
yes,
that is a level of selflessness,
yeah,
right? That's not common.
Yeah. Now I didn't choose. I'm so with KRS-One. Like I tried to leave this thing several times. Hip hop. And then it always comes back. It always comes back. It always comes back. And so I'm rooted in the music and culture in a way where I no longer seek validation. I don't need to be famous with hip hop. I don't need to be on your panel. F you and your little convening, because I have done what I've done. I'm documenting it myself. My mentees will speak my name time and time again. So I'm not worried about any of that. Now I'm about the business of legacy, right? What is my hip hop legacy? Who's the next generation that I am priming to then level up? So now I'm going through this process because I had to go away and heal for a minute of finding the energy to mentor, to coach, to provide. Like you said, that discipline. There are these developing communities of ciphers and talent shows and crews. They don't know. They think they know.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't understand that they're good. But if they honor the discipline,
right,
they masterfully great. So how do I, as a
humble themselves to the training? Would you agree?
Yes. And I've had trouble before this year, but I just approached the brothers who run Legendary Ciphers in Union Square, and they were just so loving, so open, so receptive. And I might just have to hone in on them since they're the receptors. But they're doing beautiful work, and they're such pure hip hop hearts.
I love it.
And so, but there's that thing where I need to get some funding so I can bring you in and a few of the other folks in, so that we can like cradle them almost in understanding like the power that they can, if they tap into our wisdom, our experiences, they can skip the next 10 years because they're going to be tired in a few years.
Right.
And they're going to have kids. They're going to be married. They're going to be married and then divorced. They're going to be chasing the kid. Then they're going to have parents getting older, getting sick, and they're going to be caregiving. So they don't understand the concept of time. So reason I'm here is so that I can press reset.
Yeah.
Woosah, and then be able to express myself in a way in which they can receive it, they can hear it. But I feel honored to be where I am. I get DMs filled with reverence. I was in South Africa, and there's a woman MC who's also I'm a piano star, Gigi Lamont. And when she approached me, I'm about to get emotional. When she approached me, she grabbed both of my hands and in a very African way, acknowledged me for showing up on the continent before everybody else came. And the reverence she had for the history of my work. And when I remember my first trip to South Africa, because I had called Alejandro about whether or not I should go, it was last minute. And I went. Our Alejandro, I remember. And I went. And he was like, you better get on the plane. And so I did go. But I remember the how hip hop was so alive and so pure, so untainted. But then the internet came, and now it's not as, distinct culture to culture, but there's still that element, and there's still that possibility for connection and transformation. And there's a new openness because of the state of the world, where I think hip hop is turning within. And I'm still idealistic. I know people. I know, what's that brother's name? Jimmy something. You know him. He used to piss people off on panels all the time. Jimmy Israel.
When you
Jimmy.
said to piss people off, I was like, wait a minute. I think
Jimmy like starting fires and letting it burn.
Yeah.
So Jimmy and this other dude who was big, a white guy who was big in the industry. And I remember in Denver at a Shara's conference, it was a hip hop and film.
I was there. Yeah.
Okay. And then they told me I was too much of an idealist and the hip hop idealist, but they said idealist like it was the B word.
Right.
Like they were repulsed by my idealism.
Wow.
And I've never forgotten that experience because it helped me to own it.
I love it. I love it. Yo, Toni, you were making me remember why we do what we do. I so love you right now.
Oh.
You're also making me remember, and I think I shared this before. I was on a panel. No, I wasn't on a panel. I facilitated a panel between Dougie Fresh, my former boss. I used to be his assistant, and Jessica Kia Moore. We love Jessica Kia Moore. We were at, I think, Ball State University.
Okay.
And this was decades ago. And Doug responded to a question. I forgot what the question was, but the response was along the lines of, it's important to be mad at hip hop.
Yeah.
At that time, this was like maybe the late 90s, I would say. He was like, it's important to be mad at hip hop, but steeped in love, right?
Yes.
It's important to critique it. Yes. It's important to recognize that hip hop were personified as a child, like there's some childish things. If we were to personify hip hop as a human, right? It's going to do childish things. It's going to do stupid things. It's going to do things that are not evolved. I'm paraphrasing what he said. So he was giving us permission, like, no, critique it. Critique it. Critique it. And that, Doug is like a walking, like amazing, just wisdom bearer. But you're making me think about that.
It's important. Kira Gon, I remember Kira Gon interviewing me for something, and the whole idea was too often women remove ourselves from the conversation, and we walk away from hip hop pissed off. And ever since then, I was just like, it's like what Dougie was saying. You got to stay present.
Yes,
you got to stay in it, and you can critique
and hold it accountable.
Hold it accountable, and that makes me think of Kira in that conversation.
Yes.
And I say that all the time to folks who are tired. Like, and hip hop is it's not an old shoe that you throw away because you're annoyed because the shoe hurt your toe. You know what I mean? No.
Right.
It's a culture. It is music. It is art. It has liberated so many of us.
Absolutely.
And it's brought us so much joy. It's connected us. I got a whole global family because of hip hop.
I know.
I'm in Senegal because of hip hop.
That's your other home. Look, let's do this real quick because we're going to close out. It looks like the comments are on fire.
Okay.
So let me just do a couple. I'm gonna go, Kev. I'm gonna go straight to the starred concepts. What do they call comments? Sorry, Toni, you got me floating somewhere else. Got my words all mixed up. So we got. Look, Cynthia is here. I got to shout out Cynthia Rose. She's from the West Coast, and she is a diehard Ascending. So Cynthia, I just wanted to shout you out. Normally, a lot of times she watches after the fact and she comments, but she's with us today, so I needed to definitely shout her out. And Rolando is here. Rolando is here every week. So we love Rolando. Yo, people be praising Rolando. Like, yo, he be in the comments checking everything. So he says today, New Yorkers came through. Y'all did your thing with this election. The way I hauled ass to get back to New York on Tuesday, I was in Georgia, and I was like, yeah, we not missing that. So let me see some other comments. Let's see if you have any questions. Wait, do you know this person, Tony? Um, Gorgeous Auntie Tony. Do you know who that is?
No. Well, I have a bunch of baby bisons that call me Auntie Tony. So
Okay, gotcha.
this woman though is the woman I mentioned to you, who is a brilliant innovator and thought leader when it comes to
Okay,
Africa, venture capital investment, building
I
community across cultures and countries.
absolutely,
Content, yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, we have what is it? Almitra 555 says, yes, Tony has always been ahead of her time. I would have to agree with you. Thank you for watching Ascending. Mo is here. Oh well, yeah. You know what? Let me tell the audience about you and Mo Beasley, right? You, Tony, I don't do too much programming and stuff that doesn't include you over all of my decades of doing work. It has been my honor to put money in your pocket when I can, even if it's not as much as I want, to we just did this time last year. We were doing the Arts and Activism series
Yeah,
on Sunday Civics, Sirius
yeah,
XM, right?
yeah,
Let me tell the audience about you and Mo Beasley. I don't know what we were doing, but it's a consistent thing. When
yeah.
you and Mo Beasley get together, it is the worst day to be an event producer. It is the worst day because the way y'all vibe and love on each other and get into your artist zone for whatever you're preparing for. I'm like, God help me, please. Can you just can you take that and just get on stage now? Like with three. So I'm just teasing y'all. I love y'all so much.
Yeah.
But I wanted to do that. So Amitra says, love how April very casually name drop Miss Sonia Sanchez. Yes, she's our great mother. She's our great mother. We have some other starred comments. As a hip hop artist, thank y'all for covering us. Yes.
Yes, yes,
That's
yeah.
Master Leaf. Yeah, Master Leaf 4747.
Yeah.
You are welcome. You are welcome. Let me see if we have a question or anything. He also says, or I don't know if it's he, but the comment is the cipher is where it all starts. These kids have no clue. I kind
The,
of would have to agree, but we got to help them. Oh,
the
wait a
ones
minute.
that do my workshop though. Hip hop
Don.
HU style. Come on now. Oh, Don Jean.
Yes. What's up, baby? What's up, hip hop HUs out? Tell your story, sis. The intellect reigns supreme. Tony, you are loved here. Let's see here. Mo comes back and says ciphers, ring shouts, dance circles, even ring around the rosy affirms the power of 365 degrees. Fuck that talk, Mo Beasley.
Say that.
For
Say
real.
that.
For real. Rolando comes back and says, I couldn't thank that generation enough for doing the work. Hip hop saves my life every day. Yo, Tony, on that note, thank you, Rolando, again, because that's the truth, talking about
Yeah.
saving lives. Can we go to your ascending moment, Tony, as like your last words? You know how we do. What is your or was your breakthrough moment, the one that comes to mind first? Your ascending moment personally or in life?
Well, I'm a self-development freak, so I have about 100. So I'm gonna stay contemporary. And this year, when USAID was cut and a lot of the programs were cut, I'm blacklisted from doing the work that I've done currently, and I had to find my power because I was mourning the loss of my identity with the hip hop diplomacy work. And now I'm good because my ascending moment came when I fully embraced what it means to step all the way into my power. I was still being polite about my power, not just as an artist, which the perfectionism kept me from releasing everything. I got 100 songs I'm releasing next year, or being a speaker, but as a builder of systems that supports others, like legacy realizing that I'm already credible enough to do everything that I've ever dreamed of doing. I don't have to prove myself anymore. I'm not even worried about logos and branding, baby. I got a 2-pager. Can we sit down and talk? I've been pouring in communities. I've been mentoring creatives, showing up in rooms that weren't always made for us. And I just keep having these epiphanies. I'm not just here to perform or inspire. I'm here to activate infrastructure, create systems. I'm partnering with a young sister from Ghana and the Young Howardite and a few others to start the Kazi Collective. It's a micro fund for African creative entrepreneurs rooted in love, because African artists don't get to be emerging because people always think about Africa as the past. So I want to resource all of our brilliance, connect the diaspora, and make this a season where I no longer shrink to make others feel comfortable, so that I can give others permission to shine and do the same. So I'm mindset work every day, healing post-slavery trauma, going in deep. I'm getting ready to go to the bush. I'm going to the village. I want to be able to stand. I feel like I've been weak. I've been tender. I've been fragile for the last 15 years. I felt fragile. Although people perceive me as strong, I was quite fragile. I'm going to be sensitive, but I don't want to be that. I want to be the fire that the people who came before us set a foundation for us to be.
I felt that in my bones, Toni.
I mean it.
I know you do. I know you do. And there is the little girl in me and the 57-year-old me is doing cartwheels for you right now. Girl, like I'm giddy. I'm trying to contain myself, and maybe I shouldn't, but congratulations and thank you.
Yeah.
Congratulations and thank you, because that's a whole fucking, like, the openness and the clarity of mind is glaring, Toni.
Yeah.
Glaring. And we thank you. And we thank you so much. Kevin read my mind, because I was like, for everything you just said, people need to know how to get read my mind. I didn't even know cue needed. So for those who are listening and not watching, what's on the screen right now is Toni Blackman's social media. Yeah. So on IG is at Toni Blackman. Toni Blackman. On Facebook, it's Miss Blackman 1. On TikTok, it's Toni Blackman 5. On LinkedIn, it's Toni Blackman. And on YouTube, you can go to Toni Blackman 4, the number 4.
Yes.
And we have, I know, there you go. Kevin, you're so on point today.
Well, look, I put my website on pause because I am rebirthing. I'm redefining. So I have a site up on Lovable for the interim that people can find all the information. If they can't find it, they can DM me and I can send them the link directly.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what's on the screen, the Lovable app. I know Rolando probably already got that in the chat right now, so people can click on the link. But if they follow you on social media, they can also DM you, because you are available, you are accessible. Sis, I love you so much. And real talk, that, like, everything that you just opened up and the power with which you said it, like, we clearly have to continue our conversation in the way that the Kilo Work Songs can be supportive. Like we've been in the past, the way that I personally can be supportive. This show Ascending, like we with you, like we've never been separated.
I didn't mention, which I'm really horrible about. I have a series of hip hop meditation and house meditation songs and content that I'm going to be releasing. A lot of stuff I've been sitting on. There's a whole meditation album this winter, the Self-Love Meditation Project, that'll be released as well. And I am doing public speaking coaching. So I'm doing one-on-one and small groups and using the cipher as a way to help people ground and grow expeditiously.
Yes. So that means that people should be reaching out to you if they want that training, one-on-one. And small group sessions. Did I hear you say it's one-on-one and group sessions?
Yeah.
And the hip hop meditations, this is that's forthcoming, right? Is that what you're?
Yeah, well, I have music up and out on Spotify,
Right. Yeah,
iTunes,
for sure.
but there will be a lot more to come, and
Okay.
including an album that is a meditation album.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I say this every week because I'm
Okay.
so giddy. I'm such a happy host, and I'm like, we got to have you back. And my producers are like, stop
Mhm.
saying that. Stop saying that. We're gonna have ascending is gonna be all repeat the same people, but for real.
Yeah.
When you are releasing, this additional music, come back
Yes.
and tell us, right?
Okay,
Come back
I
and tell
will.
us.
I'll let you know.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. I mean, more than let us know. Like you got to come back, and we got to
Okay.
do part two.
Okay. Okay. All right, ma'am. Well, thank you for
Yes,
having me.
I love you so
Au
much.
revoir.
Yes,
Babylon. And
yes.
yeah.
Thank you. We will see you soon, Tony. Love you much. Okay. Woo! I don't even know how to transition out of that. Because I'm floating right now. I'm so grateful for you all, for those who just logged on. This is Ascending on Marc Lamont Hill official on YouTube. If you're watching on Twitter, thank you. If you're watching on Marc Lamont Hill's Twitter channel, thank you. Switch over to YouTube, or next week log on directly on YouTube Live, because that is how you support independent media. Um, Wow, we could have talked for like another hour, but we're gonna keep it a little bit short today, and we're gonna close out. Kevin, I will follow your lead. Actually, we just want to give some reminders of some things that we want you to be aware of. So let's start with, well, yeah, we wanted to definitely say Transgender Awareness Week. This relates to the show we did last week. Transgender Awareness Week is coming up, y'all, every November 13th through the 19th. So please be mindful of that. And I know we're probably also going to, and go back and watch episode 40 with Keisha Bell. That was an amazing episode. I learned so much. We on that episode, we also had Sandy Morgan, one of the producers here. That was her second time on the show. She's talking about adoption abolition. Who knew that was a thing? But November is national. Technically, it's called National Adoption Awareness Month, technically. But that community of adoptees, the human beings, have said, we're changing the narrative. So we're calling it National Adoptee Awareness Month instead of National Adoption Awareness Month. So that's November, and today's November 8th. So we wanted to remind you. Kevin, what else we got? But as a reminder that I need to talk about before we close out. Let's see. Check out the Ascending playlist. Go to Marc Lamont Hill Official on YouTube. We want to remind you that you can bookmark. You can book. It's a play on words. You can bring Marc. You can book him to your campus, your corporate event, your community event. Contact Drake Holiday at Aquila Work Songs. We do book speaking engagements and lectures and workshops and all those things for Marc and for myself. So definitely note that. Drake at AquilaWorksongs.com if you are interested, or you can DM me on social media as well. We want to talk about my social media, which is April R. Silver or Aquila Work Songs everywhere. April R. Silver and Aquila Work Songs. And I think we are about to, yes, my website, AquilaWorksongs.com. We want to remind you, family, that the way to support Marc Lamont Hill's independent Black media movement is to join his Patreon channel. Tell your friends. Don't say you like this show and you didn't press like, or you didn't give a comment. Don't say you like Ascending and you're so happy you haven't told people about it. Don't be a thief. Spread the word. Let people know, because we are here every Saturday at 11. Next week is, oh wait, who are we doing next week? June Moses, because November is also National Homeless Awareness Month, and that's what we're talking about next week. So tell your people. In the meantime, thank you so much. Hit that like button, hit subscribe, and we will see you next week. Stay up.